Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure you guys like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So, the Supreme Court has been posting a lot of wins lately, and I think it's important that we make a video on this channel to kind of cover those wins, because it seemed like for a while you had the Supreme Court. Some of these justices were from the Federalist Society, some of them were the Trump-appointed judges, and many times they would disappoint. We would get a 5-4 ruling, Roberts would side with the liberals, and then either one of Gorsuch, ACB, or Kavanaugh side with the liberal justices for whatever reason. It wasn't usually all three. It was almost like there was some deal where one of them had to just fall and collapse to the left so many times, just one of the three. However, the court has been on fire lately, and credit where it's due, and I think it's a very good thing, and it's also important we talk about it because they got rid of affirmative action in college admissions for a lot of these schools. Harvard, North Carolina, they ruled that their affirmative action programs and affirmative action as a whole is unconstitutional, and that's a very good thing. That's not the only win that they've posted. We're going to cover all four of their recent wins, but this is the one that everybody was talking about. This was leaked yesterday morning to the news, and it's a very good thing. It is, because you have this system in place that will discriminate against people based off of their race, mainly against white people, by the way. You hear a lot about the Asians in conservative media because they like to play it safe, but by and large, this mainly affects, in terms of the whole population, may affect Asians the most when it comes to a place like Harvard. But for the everyday American, it does affect white Americans the most, and it was an anti-white policy. And it doesn't help the minorities that it's trying to help get ahead. It's not. You look at these charts here, you see the fact that you have the black-white wealth gap at the same level as it was, if not even wider than before affirmative action was a thing. On top of that, the income gap between the two races has expanded with more and more affirmative action programs in place. It doesn't help anybody. It doesn't, because you have people, let's say you have somebody who has an ACT of about 30. They happen to be a black guy who could go to, a top 25 school, but instead goes to Harvard on a full ride that they give because of his ethnicity, because they're adding points to his admission score, because that's how they do these things. And then he goes to Harvard, and then he doesn't do so well in Harvard, has to drop out, not in a good position, could have gone to a top school anyways. And then you see the white kid who gets a 36 on their ACT, gets a very high GPA, but still, there's a lot of those people that they shelve, or the Asian kid, they don't exactly get to achieve their potential either way. So everybody gets screwed over because of affirmative action. It's meant to help, bridge the gap or lower the income inequality or whatever they want to say between these groups of people. It doesn't work. It doesn't do that. It's just another form of anti-white discrimination, and it does happen to, in these cases, affect Asians as well. However, now it does seem as if that has been changed, and it doesn't mean affirmative action as a whole is going away. It's probably going to take a while, and you look into the corporate world, that's a whole nother issue. But when it comes down to these admission programs, the affirmative action programs are unconstitutional. And how will this be enforced? We have yet to really see how that will take place. But still, this is a big win for the culture. And also, it's common sense, and everybody agrees at this point, you need a merit-based system of achievement in this country. Not only is that just the basic American way, it just makes sense. And even 57% of Californians agreed that affirmative action should be banned, or it should go away. And this is something that people are going to say on the left, oh, it's a big deal. This is going to rile up the left. It's not. It failed in California. That's how unpopular affirmative action truly is. And on top of that, that's not the only win that we saw from the Supreme Court. It's the one a lot of people were talking about at first, but today we have two major and one minor win from the Supreme Court, because we see this here. The Supreme Court, we always heard about the bakery incidents, where you would have a Christian baker refuse to make a cake for a gay wedding because gay marriage is against the Christian doctrine. It is against the Bible. However, it seemed like a lot of the courts were saying at the time, you have to bake the cake. Well, it finally went to the Supreme Court again, and they ruled that Christian business owners can refuse to create marriage websites for gay couples. That was about this specific case, but it shows another win in terms of religious liberty, because they wanted people to violate their religious beliefs, to bake a cake in some humiliation ritual type of ordeal. However, because of this, you don't see that there. Religious liberty, it is something that has been under attack. You see Christians under attack for their faith. They're wanting to tax churches. We see this time and time again, especially over the past 20, 30 years. It's gotten worse. However, this is another massive W from SCOTUS today. And on top of that, it's hilarious that it happens to take place on the final day of the so-called Pride Month celebration, which this year was nowhere near as obnoxious or egregious in years past, aside from that one disgraceful White House incident. But however, speaking of the White House, this is not the only W that took place today. Here's another W for the Supreme Court. They ruled that Joe Biden's student debt transfer plan was unconstitutional. And it is, because you are taking money away from a lot of people. You're taxing them in one way or another. And these people, in many cases, never went to college, or they paid off all of their student loan debt. However, when it comes down to it, Biden wanted to say, oh no, we're just gonna throw money at the problem. Maybe we'll lose less seats at the midterms. Maybe we'll get higher youth turnout. And definitely one could argue that it helped Biden achieve that goal. But the Supreme Court, when it came down to it, stopped it after the fact, said this is unconstitutional. This is not something that can take place. And as a result, it's not going to take place. This is yet another W. You know, we always see a lot of things happen to our country over these past couple of years. Not a lot of them have been very happy things. Not a lot of them have been W's, but you see them start to add up on the court, which is a very good thing. And what I will say about this is that it's very true that it is unfair, and Donald Trump praised the Supreme Court for stopping this unfair process, because that's exactly what it is. You have people who went into debt to get useless degrees and they can't pay it off, and then those people are not a majority. They're not even close to probably a third of this country, yet they want the rest of the country to pay for them, subsidize them. It is unfair. It's nothing short of unfair. And Donald Trump is once again 100% right. Now, there was another win, yet another win today that's not being talked about nearly as much, but we did see the unfortunate Supreme Court ruling where they decided to say, hey, we need to have essentially affirmative action for congressional districts, which is ironic given their ruling yesterday about affirmative action. But they said, oh, well, in a state like Mississippi or Louisiana, South Carolina, you name it, you have to draw an extra black majority district for some reason that's going to vote Democrat, even though you don't have the same thing applied to having a white majority district in California where whites are not a majority, or Nevada or Texas or New Mexico or whatever. There's no guidelines for that. It only goes one way for some reason. And you see that here. And they decided to uphold the Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. Section 2, for all intents and purposes, should be regarded as unconstitutional, but still, that's beside the point. Ohio was trying to redraw their map, and now the Supreme Court said that they're going to kick it back to the Ohio State Supreme Court, and they can draw the map as Republican favorably as they possibly can. And they can do it, by the way, given the fact that you saw the court get even more and more conservative during the midterms, which is a very positive development there. So all around, however you want to chalk it up or look at it, you're seeing the Supreme Court post victories. And we could say, well, because we may lose seats in the House, maybe this is still a net negative. I get that. Trust me, I do. I'm not saying that every ruling they've had this, year or whatever is positive, but you see Donald Trump's justices, or mainly the justices he put on the court, falling in line for once, all three of them, and doing the right thing. And of course you have Justice Thomas, who was not appointed by Trump, and he's been very solid. And then you have Alito, who was appointed by Bush, and he's been very solid, despite the presidents that appointed them not really being that solid. Bush 2 appointing Alito and Bush 1 appointing Thomas. However, they've been solid. They've been the solid ones. Trump, even though Trump was a much better president than both of them combined, wasn't even close, his justices sometimes have been, flaky. They've been iffy. However, because you see the primary looming large ahead, because you see the fact that Donald Trump is in the lead and he needs political ammunition so he can lead by even more, this is a very big victory for him. Under this Supreme Court, you have Roe v. Wade gone, affirmative action gone, student loan forgiveness gone, constitutional carry secured, and business religious freedom secured. This is something that Donald Trump is going to tout for the primary process. This is something that he's going to be able to use to his advantage. And basically, what would the retort be from the opposing campaigns? Oh, thank Mitch McConnell. Yeah, like that's going to go over very well. It's not. But either way, this is a win for Trump. But not only that, it's just a win for America at large, that you have these positive rulings for once, and a win for conservatism, because it seems like we've lost so much ground over the years, and now we need to start rolling back that clock. We need to start stacking our wins incrementally, the way that the left for so many years has been stacking their wins incrementally. So as a result, hopefully we can continue. This is a very good thing to happen. This is an array of white pills from the Supreme Court of all places over the past couple of days or so. Will it continue? I don't know, but either way, these are still some very positive rulings, and the Supreme Court has been on fire, but hopefully it does continue. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Red Eagle, out.